A huge welcome to all parents for the Class of 2022 Year 11 Parents Information video. My name is Mr. Kaplan, I'm your son or daughter's head of year here at Priestlands. In this video we're going to be going through lots of different things that your son or daughter will be involved in their last year here at Priestlands. I hope you enjoy. Before I go on to explain what's involved within this video, I just wanted to say a huge thank you from us at Priestlands to you as parents for allowing a smooth transition into Year 11. Your vigilance with the testing process that we've asked you to do from home has enabled us as a school to have no year bubbles anymore, no masks, and as much live learning as possible, which is fantastic for all of our students here at Priestlands. It's really important that we recognise that we're not out of the woods just yet in terms of COVID, and we ask you to stay extra vigilant, making sure that your communication from home is absolutely superb during this next phase, making sure that our school attendance team is aware of any illness that your son or daughter may have in terms of COVID. So thank you for this in advance. Within this video, we're going to focus on lots of different areas that your son or daughter will focus on this year. We're going to outline our goals this year that we have as a year group. We're going to share the importance of attendance, particularly in Year 11 during this pressurised time that we do have left. We're going to go through key dates for the diary. We're going to share some information on Prom, yearbooks and hoodies, which I'm sure your son or daughter will be pleased to hear about. We're going to share the key processes for mock exams and some revision techniques that must be used from home. You're going to hear from the head of maths and the head of English and hear some specific guidance that they would like you to complete from home and in school in the English and maths department. We're going to hear from Mrs. Bennett, our school careers officer, who is going to go through lots of different post-16 opportunities for your son or daughter. And lastly, we will be sharing some key contact information for you as parents to get in contact at any point in which you feel is needed. Completing live assemblies during this difficult COVID period has been really challenging, but I was delighted to be able to deliver our first assembly in a long time to the year group in our first week back here in Year 11. I actually put the numbers on the left hand side of your screen up on the projector, 48, 140 and 180 on the screen, and the students didn't find out what they actually meant until the end of the assembly. Some of them were quite shocked to learn that they only had at the time 48 school days until mocks, 140 school days until the GCSEs begin, and 180 days until we get to see them in their suits and sparkly dresses at Elmer's Court for their prom. I think we can all agree there that your son or daughter hasn't got long left here at Priestlands. It's going to be so important over the coming months ahead that they really do take an active role in our Priestlands path to progress. Firstly, embracing challenge. Meeting challenges head on and not shying away will enable them to show real progress in each and every subject. Secondly, this year will be difficult. The way in which they persist in the face of setbacks is so key. We're looking for resilience and that never give up attitude when reacting to those difficult moments in order to continue improving. Thirdly, their use of feedback. It's so important that your son or daughter seeks feedback in lessons, outside of lessons, and possibly even gives up time after school or at lunchtimes during intervention sessions. Using the support on offer will only increase their confidence further. Lastly, being inspired by others around them will spur them on to great things as an individual. A real team approach from staff and students is needed here to continue that gradual rise and have all success for every single student. I'm now going to pass you on to Mr. Glennie, who is one of the deputy heads here at Priestlands. He's been attached to your son or daughter's year group since the very start at year 7, and he is going to go through with you the importance of attendance in Year 11.
Hello, it's Richard Glennie here, and I want to start by reiterating what Mr. Kaplan said about how brilliantly the Year 11 has started. And we've been thoroughly impressed by the way this year group has returned and settled down. They've had an incredibly difficult few months, and we are so very proud of them for just rolling their sleeves up and getting on with it. And a particular shout out goes to the prefect team, who've just made such a mature and sensible start, taking on their responsibilities brilliantly. Now, we always talk about the importance of good attendance, and in many ways it's even more important for this year group this particular year. Everyone should be in school, of course, making the most of every opportunity now that school is operating normally. And law says that parents must make sure their children attend. We want to be really clear if there are concerns about attendance. We will, of course, be talking to you, be talking to your child about it, and trying our very best to support and resolve any issues there might be. Now, in general, it's true to say that high attendance does go hand in hand with achieving your potential in GCSEs. And in general, it's true to say that low attendance usually affects outcomes of GCSEs in quite a negative way. It's not always the case, but if you just look at the chart on the left, you can see that 96% is where we really need students to be if they're going to reduce the risk of just missing out and underachieving. And you can see that if a student is down towards 90% attendance-wise, you can see it means they've missed 20 school days. It means they've missed 4 weeks of school a year, quite a big chunk of the academic year. And that accounts for nearly 100 hours of teaching. Now, that's why we tend to talk about 96% plus, so very important. Even 96% attendance still means somebody's had 7 days off in a year, a week and a half off. And as I said, that's reasonable. We can't help being too unwell to attend school sometimes. And here's the proof of the pudding, really, because it's based on our figures. And we know that on average, compared to somebody with high attendance, somebody with attendance lower than 90% on the whole tends to achieve 1.5 grades lower in all of their subjects. Somebody with attendance even between 90 and 95% tends to achieve a grade lower in half of their subjects. And even somebody with attendance between 95 and 98% on the whole doesn't do quite as well as somebody with that very high attendance. And of course, there are students with very special circumstances, and in those cases, time off can't be avoided. We know that. And also, there's no reason to believe that they won't make up for lost time, they won't make the most of their time in school and catch up. But we keep saying high attendance is important. There's a very good reason for that. Obviously, if students are not in, especially on a crucial year when we've had so much time off school, the chances are they'll miss out. The chances are they won't feel as confident or as well equipped to do well. So, please keep sending them in. Please stay in touch. Talk to us as soon as you have any concerns about attendance. And let's really try to make sure the class of 2022 hits 96% when it comes to the end of the year. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Mr. Glennie. That invaluable advice about attendance, I couldn't echo it more. Every day really does matter. Now, you've probably seen our school motto along the bottom of every slide of the PowerPoint so far. Learn more, do more, be more. Just going to spend some time now breaking that down as to what could be expected in each of those 3 categories this year. So, first of all, learn more. We'd like your son or daughter to continue with their option pathways, which are either exam, coursework, or sometimes they have a mixed element of those. Your son or daughter may be asked to go on subject-specific trips that lead into their exam or coursework elements for their subjects. These trips are so important and that students must attend. Intervention has actually started this week in English and Maths, and Dr. Burgess, the head of Maths, and Mrs. Russell, the head of English, is going to go on to explain what is involved in that process a bit further along in the video. Also under learning more is that we'd expect your son or daughter to be partaking in independent revision from home, and this should have already started. The second part of our school motto is do more. It's so important over the next couple of months that students shouldn't neglect their extracurricular opportunities they have here on offer at Priestlands. Being a PE teacher myself, I can't speak highly enough of the breadth and wide range of activities we have on offer. And actually, research has proven that physical activity during revision periods is actually so important. Having that downtime, having the time to be socially, physically, emotionally healthy, and having fun with friends in a structured way is going to be so invaluable in making sure that your son or daughter is prepared for what is coming ahead. Also under doing more is the willingness to attend catch-up sessions or intervention sessions. These are going to be expected over the next couple of months, particularly leading up to the mock exam period. Taking pride in roles of responsibility around the school. I must say our prefect team of up to 88 students that we've got this year have made an absolute phenomenal start with their roles around school, and being a role model to all those other year groups, particularly year 7 and year 8, with the bubble system that they've come from in primary school. Them now having the opportunity to see what a fantastic Priestland student looks like in year 11 has been invaluable for them. Lastly, for doing more, I just wanted to highlight that our study centre is now officially reopened, and that is open to all year 11 students after school until 5 o'clock every single day. This is a great area for the students to use, and they can book out a laptop, they can use the revision tables to do group work if they wish. It's a fantastic area, and I really do advise that they use it during the lead up to the mock exam period. The last part of our school motto is be more. I'm a huge believer in our role as educators here at Priestlands is to give your son or daughter the keys needed for them to go on to whatever they would like to do in their post-16 opportunities. So this year we really do focus on that a lot. Your son or daughter can continue to have one-to-one careers meetings with our careers officer, Mrs. Bennett, who you're going to hear from a bit later. Your son or daughter is going to have a careers fair on Wednesday the 29th of September, in which they're going to be off timetable during that afternoon, and they're going to have a fantastic opportunity to go around all of the different colleges and sixth forms and apprenticeship schemes in which they can pick up the prospectus from each of those and really delve into some of the courses they may like to do after their time here at Priestlands. We actually have the privilege of being able to complete a taster day at Brockenhurst College on Tuesday the 2nd of November. That's a whole year group event in which every single pupil in the year will be attending that, and they'll be choosing various workshops that may interest them into something that they may go on to wish to do at post-16. And then the final part of being more, I've already alluded to, being a leader or a role model around the school is so important. Being that top year in the school now, people will look towards them for guidance. People will look towards them in the way that they behave, the way they travel around the school, and I can be proud of the start that they've made in year 11, and long may that continue. I'm now going to go through some key dates and times for some really specific events targeted at year 11 this year. First of all, in the first autumn term, on Tuesday the 28th of October, your son or daughter is going to complete the careers fair, as I've previously mentioned. That is a students only event, so there's no need for parents to attend. On Tuesday the 5th of October, we have our first inset day, followed by another inset day the day after on Wednesday the 6th of October. We then have Monday the 25th of October to Friday the 29th of October as a 1 week half term. Moving into the second half of the autumn term, again we have our Brockenhurst College Taster Day. That's a whole year group trip on Tuesday the 2nd of November, leading into the very start of mocks, which is on the Thursday the 25th of November, a really important time there for your diary, leading all the way up until Friday the 10th of December. That is when the mock exam period is. Lastly, we have our last day of term on Thursday the 16th of December, and that will be our last day in which we say goodbye to them for our Christmas break. So leading on after our Christmas break, we lead into the spring term. First of all, our first day back is on Tuesday the 4th of January. Another really important date for your diary is Friday the 14th of January. That is when your son or daughter will be picking up their mock exam results. We have a specific afternoon for that, which is going to be tailored and almost be exactly the same as the official results day in August 2022. After that, we have Tuesday the 18th of January, which is a Year 11 Parents' Evening. Now at this moment in time, that is a virtual event, as we've done previously throughout COVID. That is something that the school have decided to keep at this moment in time. However, if it does change, we will obviously let you know. After that, on Monday the 24th of January, we have the beginning of our post-16 interview week, and that will go on for the remaining 2 weeks there, in which post-16 sixth form colleges will be coming in, interviewing your son or daughter for their place after they've applied. On Thursday the 3rd of February, we have a Year 11 exams info evening. Again, we'll have to confirm closer to the time whether that is going to be a live in-house event or if that is going to be a pre-recorded video just like this one. We then have our last day of term on Friday the 18th of February, leading into the half-term break from Monday the 21st of February to Friday the 25th of February. When we come back for the second half of the spring term, you can see there it's a much quieter term, but obviously your son or daughter will be heavily preparing for their exams coming up very, very soon. On Monday the 28th of February, it's our first day back, and on Thursday the 7th of April will be the last day of term, meaning that from Monday the 11th of April to Friday the 22nd of April will be our 2-week Easter holiday period. So as you can see, summer term is one of the most important times for your son or daughter this year, with Monday the 9th of May being a really important date for you and your son or daughter's diary. Monday the 9th of May is when the Year 11 GCSE exams are expected to begin, and they will run up all the way towards the back end of June, with specific dates and times coming out closer to the time. Now, during this period, we do usually run a study leave program in which as soon as your son or daughter has completed their final exam in each subject, they will not be required to attend those lessons anymore in school. This will be run in a really strict signing out process, but we will go over more details within the Year 11 exam information evening in the spring term. In the summer term 2, the only final thing to do is to see them again in their sparkly dresses and fantastic suits at the Year 11 prom, and that date is still to be decided. Now, I'm sure this is what your son or daughter has been waiting for, the information about prom, yearbooks and leavers hoodies. It's something that all of our students get really, really excited about in Year 11, and it will be fantastic to celebrate as a year group towards the end of this academic year and celebrate everyone's success. Now, lots of the details are still to be decided, so we'll get the information out to you when we can. However, we can confirm that it will be a themed event. The date is still to be decided, as already explained, but most importantly for prom, your son or daughter will need to earn the right to attend. It's so important that they don't assume that everyone gets to attend prom. As long as they behave in the right way, show fantastic attitude throughout this year, they will of course get to attend. With yearbooks and leavers hoodies, again, that's going to be confirmed later on in the process. We're still in communication with the company providing those this year. But again, can I just highlight to you as parents, the safeguarding information that will come out within the letters and the documentation is so important within this. If you wish for your son or daughter to not be included within the yearbook, or their name not to be included on the hoodie, there'll be specific elements to the documentation in which you will have to tick and sign off for that. Likewise, if you do want your son or daughter to be involved within that, that's fantastic, and just making sure that you complete all of the documentation so the process is as easy as possible. So as already explained, your son or daughter will sit the Year 11 mock exams during the dates of Thursday the 25th of November to Friday the 10th of December. Now the timetable and specific subject information for this is yet to be decided, however more information will come out closer to the time. We're now going to go through the importance of revision and how your son or daughter can prepare for these in the best way possible. So, moving on to the power of revision. Now, I've asked various members of staff to share some of the quotes that they've had over the past couple of years within this kind of autumn term period, and we've got to get rid of this myth that the mocks aren't important. They are so important to get into those fantastic habits, ready for the real deal in the summer. Making sure that students prepare in the right way with a structured timetable is going to be really key. So we often get that question, why are the mocks so important? It gives a really accurate picture of where pupils are for classroom teachers with their understanding of key subject content. It gives an indication of a pupil's ability to score marks in different parts of the paper. And lastly, it highlights strengths and underlines what areas pupils need to work on in order to improve. And this is exactly where we value that person's path to progress in terms of seeking feedback from their teachers, asking for support where they need to, and this is why the mocks are so important. We sometimes even get this question, do the mocks matter? Absolutely, 1000% yes they do. All of the post-16 providers want to know what predicted grades that your son or daughter may achieve come the real deal in the summer. The grades may affect the tier of entry for the summer exam, so therefore will they go into the higher paper or necessarily the foundation paper. They also show pupils that they can achieve their target grades, or actually even better. I'm a massive believer on not putting a ceiling on any of our young people, and actually if they can exceed their targets in the mocks, just imagine what they can do when it comes to the real deal in the summer. For some, it can be a massive confidence booster. Another question we get asked, will the exams be exactly like the ones in June? Now absolutely they will be. They will be sitting their mock exams under full exam conditions within our examination hall, and also under the correct silent environment and with the specific exam rules that they will be undertaking in the summer as well. They will have a real exam paper in each subject so that students get to practice using specific language and terminology from that subject. There will be a time pressure for all students, so having the ability to practice the pace of their writing and planning within the exam, again, is an invaluable experience. And lastly, being organised and independent, making sure that they show up for that exam on time, putting the practice and that habitual nature into practice is going to be invaluable to make sure that they give absolutely 100% and are ready for that process in the summer. So how should your son or daughter revise in the most effective way possible? First of all, let's focus on the time. Suppose you start work at 6 p.m. You should decide, looking at your clock or watch, to stop at 6:25 p.m. and no later. Have a break for 5 to 10 minutes, and when you start again, look at the clock and decide to work until 6:55 or 7 p.m. exactly, and then have another break. This way you are working more efficiently, as the previous slide showed. It's so important that you take breaks and chunk up the time in which you are revising so you don't overload your brain and particularly your long-term memory. Let's cover some specific ways in which your son or daughter should revise. Now we always get that question, how should I revise? And that's why we spend so much time in this kind of 18-month period or 2-year period between year 10 and 11 really preparing your son or daughter for this so that they can do independent study and quality independent study from home. Your son or daughter should be regularly self-testing in all of their subjects, as it links to the retrieval practice that they do in all lessons. They could use their knowledge organisers, revision notes and cards, mind maps, spider diagrams, past papers, and all of that should be underpinned by planning a really structured and detailed revision timetable. As you can see from the blue box there, it's simply not good enough just to read through work. It's so important that writing plays a huge part, and quizzing, maybe with yourselves from home, could play an effective, active role in quality revision. And the key word is quality. Now, if your son or daughter is prepared in the right way and have gone into their mock exams in the best condition possible in each and every subject, I'm sure this day, on mock results day, which is Friday the 14th of January, is going to be a day that they actually really look forward to. There's going to be a formal collection of results on that afternoon, results on one piece of paper, just like August. Okay, and then there will be a follow-up by all subject teachers, specifically going through the grades earned in those mock exams with your son or daughter to give them feedback and what they can do to improve come the summer term. We then have the Year 11 Parents' Evening on January the 18th, shortly after, in which, again, we believe at this moment in time will be a virtual event, but it will give you the opportunity to ask any questions that you may have to your subject, to your son or daughter's subject teachers. As explained at the start of the video, we know that lots of students in Year 11 find it particularly tough, particularly leading up to the mock exams and the real exams come in the summer. We will have to provide lots and lots of support, but that support is available and is on offer constantly. There will, as explained previously, there will be revision classes and intervention. There will be lunch times and after schools, termly timetable published online and in tutor rooms, targeted sessions, and in English and Maths morning sessions, where students will come out of their PSHCE sessions that will last for around about 40 minutes each and every Wednesday to receive extra intervention for students in English and Maths. The support is also included within key revision resources that your son or daughter will be given in each and every subject. And again, we have priority time for Year 11 in the study centre after school. We also have the pastoral support that we will come on to towards the end of the video. Obviously, you've got myself, Mr. Kaplan as head of year, Mrs. Bailey, Year 11 pastoral support manager, who is fantastic, and her door is always open for any of those burning questions that your son or daughter may have. And again, just to remind you, we have another Year 11 exams information evening for all parents on Thursday the 3rd of February at 6 p.m. Now at this moment in time, it's yet to be decided whether that is going to be a live event or another pre-recorded virtual video. However, we will obviously let you know closer to the time what that is going to look like. I'm now going to pass over to Mrs. Russell, who is Head of English, who is going to go through the specific guidance needed in English this year.
Hi everybody, my name's Amy Russell, I'm the Head of English. I just wanted to talk to you about the GCSEs in English Language and Literature that Year 11 will be taking this year. You're probably already aware that students will leave school with two separate qualifications. They will have a GCSE in English language and a GCSE in English literature. I just wanted to run through with you the content of the two papers so that you've got a good idea of what your students should be preparing for and revising at home. So starting with the English language qualification, students will sit two separate papers. The first one, Explorations in Creative Reading and Writing, consists of two sections. In section A, students will be given a short extract from a fiction text. It isn't a fiction text they've studied in class before, but they will have studied a range of fiction texts in class, preparing them for how to respond to an unseen text when they're given 4 questions on the text in the exam, looking at the writer's craft. In terms of that, we already have nearly all of our course content covered, and we'll certainly have it covered by Christmas, so that the remaining time can be focused on honing the skills that students have already been introduced to. By the time our December mock comes round, we'll be absolutely focused on all of the things that we know will be in the final summer exam, so that will give students a really good flavour of what to expect and an idea of what they still need to focus on in terms of particular skills to improve. And of course it will inform us how our time will be best spent in the new year when we're in the run up to those final exams. At the moment, we already run a mini mock schedule which was already in place during year 10. I'm sure your sons and daughters will have told you about this, where they complete on a fortnightly basis exam questions that are taken from previous papers or model previous papers. So we have a rolling programme of completing a formal exam question and then being given formal feedback a week later, so that we're able to continually monitor the progress being made by students and identify where the gaps in their knowledge and understanding might be. So that monitoring process will be up and running again this week when the mini mock schedule starts, as it was before we were interrupted. So all in all, I would say that we're gaining, and we don't really have any need to be worried at all. Students have had a bit of a perception that they're slightly behind, but they're not. We've had to pause some things that we perhaps would have normally done in year 10, but because of the time the exam board are giving us back by cutting one of the texts, it means that we have plenty of time to fill that gap. In terms of revising for English, it's quite a common thing for us to hear students saying, I can't revise for English, there's nothing I can do, particularly with the language papers, because the texts that they are presented with are things that they haven't seen before. But it's the skills. It's not true to say that they can't revise, because certainly for literature there's loads they can do to revise. Language-wise, it's the skills that can be revised by doing different things, even if they don't know the text that's going to be on the exam paper. In terms of revising for English, it's quite a common thing for us to hear students saying, I can't revise for English, there's nothing I can do, particularly with the language papers, because the texts that they are presented with are things that they haven't seen before. But it's the skills. It's not true to say that they can't revise, because certainly for literature there's loads they can do to revise. Language-wise, it's the skills that can be revised by doing different things, even if they don't know the text that's going to be on the exam paper day. So, things that I would be suggesting students are doing at home. Number one would be accessing past papers. Now, we've got plenty in school that can be given out to students if they request them, complete them at home, bring them in, we can mark them and give them the feedback that they need based on the mark schemes that are produced by the exam board. Alternatively, if you visit the AQA website, it's quite easy to navigate through and find past papers that you can print off yourselves, and students can complete sections of them or whole papers if they want to. What I would suggest you do though, if students are completing past papers at home, is that you encourage them to do that to time, giving the right amount of time to each question that they're doing in order that they are trying to emulate actual exam conditions, and practicing that timing as well as the content of what they're doing, making sure that they begin with a timetable of revision and try to stick to it from the beginning is really important, particularly when it comes to things like the literature texts again, because there's quite a lot of content in terms of Lord of the Flies, in particular, to reread that hasn't been revisited since year 10. I would be encouraging all students to reread Lord of the Flies again from start to finish, and at the very least getting their revision notes out from last year and refreshing their memory on characters, on themes, on key events, on the order of the text and the structure and so on. That would be really, really useful. Doing things at home like creating flashcards, memory walls, mind maps, sticking them up in various places in the house, bedroom walls, front of the fridge, that can't be helpful enough, because by seeing those revision notes and so on every day whilst at home is only going to be beneficial in terms of seeing it and remembering it. Likewise, quizzes, self-testing on things like key vocabulary, terminology, keywords connected to particular characters or themes, quotations, all of that kind of thing. Again, quizzing is something that you can help your student do, and then repeating those quizzes, repeating the same ones again and again, so that the material is remembered. Online, there is a wealth of resources. I would really encourage students to have a Twitter account and be following educational accounts that often post revision resources or links to revision videos and so on. They're really, really useful. And equally, to be subscribing to or regularly looking at websites like YouTube that have accounts from Mr. Bruff, or TED Talks, things like that, that are kind of 5 to 10 minute watches that will be able to be dipped in and out of at time that's convenient, that you don't need to be setting aside an hour for English every evening, for example. 10 minutes here and there watching those short videos are brilliant ways of little and often and trying to remember the important material. And also, reading non-fiction materials at home is really useful when it comes to preparing for language paper 2. If you have broadsheet newspapers, that's the kind of level of challenge and vocabulary that we would be expecting from the materials presented in the language paper 2. So to be reading newspapers, identifying who they think the audience is for a particular article, what's the style, is the writer being argumentative, are they being informative, are they being emotive, how can you tell, and so on. And again, that's something that can just be reading and discussion rather than necessarily sitting down and writing for ages. So all of those things are going to be really useful. We will be running after school revision sessions for year 11 for them to attend on a drop-in basis or to do every week. Some students we might specifically invite if we feel that it's going to be something that's particularly beneficial to them to fill a particular gap that they might have in their knowledge. But we haven't yet confirmed which days they're going to be running. As soon as they are, the full revision programme will be published to all parents. Intervention wise, for Year 11, we always run targeted intervention for particular groups of individuals. We run this mainly during the PSHE programme on a Wednesday morning. In terms of revision guides, we do get asked a lot which ones we recommend. I personally feel that the ones that students have had the most success in terms of accessibility, suggestions of activities that they can do to revise alongside the revision guides, are the ones here produced by CGP and by the Quotation Bank. They're available on Amazon, they're available at Waterstones, local bookstores and so on. My advice at this stage would be to hold fire on purchasing any on the Poetry or Jekyll and Hyde just yet until we get definite confirmation from AQA about which of the exam texts are no longer going to be in our exam. But certainly if you wanted to get ahead of yourself in terms of revision guides, Lord of the Flies and Romeo and Juliet we know are going to be examined for us. So there's no reason why you couldn't go out and get copies of those if your children are keen to get on with revising with a bit of guidance at home. So that's it really for English. I mean, we're absolutely delighted with the start that Year 11 have made to the academic year. They've been really keen. They haven't been phased by the changes that are being made or have been made or the lost time, because I think they recognise that actually we were kind of ahead of ourselves when the school did close. The amount of work and communication they had with us during lockdown was excellent on the most part. And we're kind of buoyed by the fact that we've got this gained time due to the changes that are being made. If you have any particular questions or concerns, do contact your son or daughter's English teacher or contact me by phoning up or emailing, and we'd be more than happy to help you. That's it for me, so now I'm going to hand over to Mel Bennett and she's going to talk to you about careers.
Hi, welcome to the section on GCSE Maths. My name is Dr Burgess and I'm the Head of Maths here at Priestlands. If you ever have any questions, do feel free to email me and I'll get back to you. But today I'm going to talk a bit about how you can help your students, in particular in this term in their run up to their November mocks. So what can you do? Firstly, we'd appreciate if you could help them be there in as many lessons as possible. The more we see them, the more we can teach them and the more they'll be prepared for their mocks. We would appreciate any help in getting your students equipped. In particular, students need to have a calculator every lesson. It needs to look like this, where it's got the scientific buttons at the top. There are now 2 GCSE papers that use calculators, and so it's really important that they have these every lesson so that we can help them to learn how to get the best out of them. I'll talk about homework in a second, but as always, any support you can give them in completing it would be really great. And to do that, they really need some revision guides if they haven't already. We did offer the opportunity last year and most of them now have them. But if they don't, the ones we're looking for are these ones here. They're the Oxford Revised ones and they're available on Amazon. If they can have the revision guide and the workbook, then that will really help them both have support in how to do the topics, but also some questions to practice. The great things about these ones is they've got fully worked examples and they've got fully worked solutions in the back as well, so students can really benefit from them. We're just starting up our Wednesday morning intervention. If your student is involved with that, then encouraging them to attend and making sure they're getting the most out of that would be great. But as we offer other opportunities, ensuring that they take them up is one of the really important things you can do at home. And finally, we'll get the opportunity to discuss some more specific revision needs once we get to Parents' Evening in January, following on from their Year 11 mocks. So one of the places that students can get some resources to help them is our fantastic website called Maths at Priestlands. You can either Google that or you can search through on the Priestlands website, and this is the page that you'll eventually get to. If students click through on the Key Stage 4 revision button, then this is what they'll get to. And it's lots of different icons that behind have some really interesting and important information for them. The first one is the formula sheet. So on there is every formula that the students need to know, and they're highlighted by both higher and foundation. It's important that students take the time to learn these formulas over the next couple of months. Another good button is this one, which is the practice exam papers. So behind there are lots and lots of exam style questions that students can practice, but most importantly there are also answers so they can mark their work at the end. There's also other buttons, but the final one I wanted to highlight was this external revision website. So we know that there's lots and lots of them available out there, and what we've tried to do is pull together the best ones and put them all into one place. Finally, and most importantly, the password to access all of this is square. That's what they'll be prompted to enter as soon as they go to that part of the website. So maths homework this half term is going to look a bit different for students. The most important thing is that they're doing maths, and that's what we're trying to get them into the habit of now, rather than waiting until they get to the Easter of Year 11 when they should have already started their revision. We've created a plan for them, which I'll go through in a second, and it means that they can just get going and try different styles of it, but most importantly that they're building those habits that they need. So the maths homework this half term will look different to anything that they've done previously at Priestlands, and students will have a copy of this document glued into the front of their exercise books, but also uploaded onto Show My Homework for them each week that gives them a clear plan of what they need to revise. The important bit is that they aim to spend 15 minutes a night, 4 nights a week, and that will make up their full maths homework. We've picked 3 topics for them to look at, and also then one session, which is where we test that they're able to do some work on those topics now. It's important that students build some really good habits around this, and so if you could help them find a space in which this would work and a time in which this would work, then it would really help benefit them over the coming year. One thing I used to recommend was that you could get home, put the kettle on, start your revision, make the cup of tea, and by the time that your tea's ready to drink, you know that you've done your 15 minutes revision. So these topics have been selected for many different reasons, but the main ones are that they are either topics that students have struggled with in their exam paper that they did, but they're also topics that come up every year so far. Okay, so what does one 15-minute session look like? Well, we'll start by looking at what that might look like in the revision guide. So students will be given on their homework a page number for each of the topics. And what they need to do is open up that page in their revision guide, and they'll see the topic that they're supposed to be revising. What they could do is they could read through the key points that are given, they can look through the worked examples and make sure they understand them, and then there's also a few questions that they can try, and of course they can mark that from the back. Once they've done that, they could tick it off if it's the first time or the second time or the third time, so they can keep track of the pages that they've worked their way through. Once they've done that, they can then turn to the revision workbook, which is exactly the same page number. So if they were on page 1 on the revision guide, they'll be on page 1 of the workbook. If they're on page 100 of the revision guide, they're on page 100 of the workbook. And what they need to do is answer some questions in there. Once they've done that, the answers are all at the back, so they can mark it and they can see how many marks that they got right. The other way they could do a 15-minute session is using MathsWatch. Students all have their username and their password on a label which is inside of their SRBs or their exercise books, but they're all of the form first name dot surname at Priestlands, with the password all being square. So students can then click on the video, so they need to search for the video, and I would recommend that they watch the 1-minute maths video, which is just a summary of all of the key points. If it's a topic they're struggling on, they may choose to take a bit longer over it and watch the longer video. They can then try some interactive questions, so this will then mark it for them so they know again whether they've got it right or not. Once they've clicked on the interactive questions, there's a selection of questions that they can pick. I recommend that they do a few of the standard questions so that they can gain confidence with it, but that they also try and challenge themselves with the harder questions. That way they get a bit of a range of questions and the style of questions that could come up in the GCSE. The final 15-minute session, which will be their 4th session of the week, is spent on a website called Diagnostic Questions. Again, students have the logins for these in their SRBs. So that will look like this, and on there there'll be 6 questions for them to answer, and they're all multiple choice. Students just need to select whether they think the answer is A, B, C or D, and then they get asked briefly why they think that's the answer. And that just helps us to assess whether students are able to do it or whether in lessons we need to spend a bit longer on those topics, and will help the teachers to adapt the planning over the next half term in the build up to their mocks. Hopefully that's answered all your questions about how you can best support your student in maths. But if you do have any further questions, then please feel free to either email me or to their class teacher. Thank you very much.
Hello to all our listeners. My name is Melanie Bennett. I'm the Careers Advisor for the school, and I'm going to be talking about careers planning. We've been talking about the importance of preparing for GCSEs, but we also need to think about the post-16 options, what students are going to be doing beyond school. So I'm going to be looking at these options, the support resources and the strategies. The main post-16 options are further education, apprenticeships and traineeships, employment and training. These are the main options open to school leavers. As you can see in the blue band at the bottom of the screen, it's called Raising the Participation Age, the RPA. This is a statutory requirement which requires young people to participate in one of these options. I know the media used to call this statutory requirement the staying on law, which suggested that people only stayed on in further education, but as you can see, there are many options open to young people. So when considering further education, we need to be clear about the entry levels. And this is just a rough guide as to the GCSE grades that are required for the different levels of courses that are available. So level 3, which is the 2 years advanced level study, students will need to have at least 4 to 5 GCSE subjects, grades 4 to 9. Some individual A-levels require specific GCSE subjects, and they may ask for specific GCSE grades, and that can often be GCSE grade 5 and above. Level 2, which is a 1-year intermediate level course, they require mostly GCSE grades 3 to 4. And the level 1, which is the 1-year foundation course, they require mostly GCSE grades 1 to 3. There's also a pre-level 1 course for students with individual needs. So what we can see here is that further education is for everybody. People can jump into the level that suits them best. We should be aspiring to go straight into level 3, but level 2 offers a good stepping stone and a safety net. So let's start to look at the options in further education. This is the popular advanced level, the A-level, level 3 courses. Students start off studying 3 to 4 subjects in their first year. And in their second year, they go on to convert those to full A-levels. So they go away with 3.5, 3+ A-levels, which is perfect for university or employment and training. Now these can be in academic subjects, traditional ones that we're familiar with, or they could be new ones such as philosophy or sociology. They could also include vocational subjects in that combination, so it's not unusual to do maths and physics and include an electronics component. But there are traditional combinations that tend to open a lot more doors, often what we call facilitating subjects, and certainly that's something I can talk to students about as the careers advisor, but their sixth forms and colleges that they're applying to can equally talk to them about those particular combinations. So here we have another advanced level study program, which is the vocational courses, still level 3, and these are equal to A levels. We're going to start with the extended diploma. Look at that, that's a huge course. It's equal to about 3 A levels. It's a Monday to Friday, 9 till 4 kind of course, and you don't tend to do many things alongside this as it's a full timetable. This could be in engineering or it could be in business. Here we've got a diploma which you can see is slightly smaller, and that allows us then to combine other subjects alongside that. So you could do a diploma in health and social care and apply an A-level in biology alongside it, particularly if you're interested in nursing. The subsidiary diploma is a vocational course where students could combine with other academic subjects as their vocational choice. So with the vocational diplomas, there is an element of coursework to that, and they do cover a wide range of job areas. Having said that, it doesn't mean that you're locked into that particular career area forever. So for example, we might have someone who does A-levels in English, history and art and go into retail management. Not because those subjects are particularly required for retail management, it just gives employers confidence that you can study at level 3. And it's the same with level 3 vocational courses. In the vocational courses there's lots of transferable skills, but it just gives the employer confidence. We've had many people who have done vocational diplomas and gone into unrelated job areas. We've had people do sports vocational diplomas and work in insurance and banking. So it's not just what you study, it's the levels that give people confidence. Moving on, we're looking at the intermediate vocational course, which is a level 2. These come in different names and different sizes: a BTEC First, City and Guilds, or an NVQ qualification, National Vocational Qualification. It's interesting that you can do GCSE retakes alongside these courses. Typically Maths and English are often taken alongside them. They can be practicals and they do offer progression. We do have 3 years of free education while we're under the age of 19, so it's not unusual for people to use a level 2 as a stepping stone or a safety net, where they do the level 2 for 1 year and then go on to level 3 for a further 2 years. And once again, they cover a wide range of vocational areas. So Priestland Students has a responsibility to make sure every student applies for a full-time educational course. In our case, we are a feeder school to Brockenhurst College, and we do work to their deadlines and their process, but students are very much encouraged to apply to other sixth forms and colleges that they have interest in. We work through the college applications. We make sure people apply by mid-December. Interviews for Brockenhurst College generally take place in school in January and February, but we also have other neighbouring sixth forms who interview in school, which is the Highcliffe School and the Arnwood Academy. However, this year might be slightly different and they might do them more remotely. We do have dedicated sessions in the curriculum where students are encouraged to work on their record of achievement, and we also help with that online application. Please be aware that a lot of the other sixth forms and colleges have different deadlines and different processes. Certainly the sixth forms, their deadlines come quite early. So I would recommend people go online if you have other interests and check out the other sixth forms and colleges and follow their procedures. So moving on to the other major options, which could be apprenticeships, training and employment. This is where we're working with an employer, but we're still going to college and training centres, honing our skills and gaining industry recognised qualifications, which could be NVQs, National Vocational Qualifications. There's also that attractive element of earning whilst we're learning. Now you can see this strange robo-man, he's jumping in to a level. So the main options then: further education, apprenticeships and traineeships, and employment and training. So how can you help as a parent? We do have the National Careers Service website, which is funded by the government and is a dedicated website, hasn't got any adverts on it or distractions. It's just for careers information. And it talks about all the different options, but it also has other features where, for example, you've got a A to Z list of every job or career that you can think of, and it talks about how much you would earn, what the entry requirements are, and what kind of skills and attributes you would need to do that particular job. The list that you can see there are in groups of family groups. So if you clicked on any one of those, it would then give you a drop down list of all the jobs that relate to that particular area. So if I clicked on financial services, it gives me all the types of financial services if you're not quite sure of the job title that you'll be looking for. If you're looking for something unusual, you can do a course search where you can find out where courses of interest might be, whether that's locally or slightly further afield. You can also engage with people and ask questions and get information as well. One of the services they do provide is a computer-aided guidance assessment where you can answer a series of questions and it comes up with some career ideas, which is a great place to start if you're not quite sure. One of them is called Discover Your Skills and Careers, which seems quite straightforward. The other one is called Skills Health Check, which sounds a bit medical, but it actually isn't. It is answering a series of questions and it coming up with some career ideas for you. There are also official websites, such as the apprenticeship website, which is a great way of finding out about vacancies in your local area. You can put in your postcode and do a local search. When you register, which is really advisable, it will also alert you when something comes up in your local area that you might want to apply for. You can fill out one application form on this website, and that you can keep just adjusting rather than keep writing fresh ones. You can keep sending that off to the different vacancies that come up. So what are the application strategies? Well, the events on the left hand side are events and activities which are advertised and provided to the students. Now these events will take place, but this year they might be slightly different, but they will be substituted in some way if they don't go ahead as they would do normally. The strategies on the right hand side are what students can be doing for themselves. So students can apply via school and you're encouraged to do that, but if you're thinking about sixth forms and colleges other than Brockenhurst College, you might want to look online and look at their own processes, what they've got to offer and some of their deadlines. Don't be afraid to make multiple applications. Apply to one or two more than you need so that you can compare them. Compare what they're offering, what the facilities are like, what the process has been like, so that you can actually decide who your first choice might be. Please don't hesitate in applying. Even if you're not 100% sure, apply within the deadline and make amends or adjustments later on down the line. It's not unusual for people to make adjustments after their sixth form and college interview, or later on down the line, or even after they get their GCSE results. So apply now, adjust later on. Work on your record of achievement, make sure you've got that all together, because some of the sixth forms and colleges may ask to see that as part of their interview process. If you are serious about jobs and apprenticeships, please don't imagine that you leave school and then you apply. You will need to apply before you leave school. Some of the national apprenticeships are advertised before Christmas of year 11, and a lot of local opportunities come up around Easter time, so do be prepared to apply long before you leave school. But we never know what the job market is going to be like, so we always recommend anybody who's interested in jobs and apprenticeships as their first choice still applies for a full-time college course as a backup. So if you're not sure about any of this, please come along for a careers interview. It doesn't matter what stage you're at, whether you're thinking about apprenticeships or university, whether you have ideas or don't have ideas. That's a perfect reason for coming along for a careers interview. Talk to any member of staff or adult that you work with in school. Your personal tutor is a good bet because they will email me and I will then call you up for an appointment. Come up to the careers room, which is at within the Robert Hall building next to H25, which is an IT room. There will be drop-in clinics advertised via student bulletins, and after you've had the careers fair and you've gathered some information and you've been looking at the details, if you're not clear or things aren't falling into place, that's a great time to come and have a chat to me about what your particular options actually are. I hope this has been useful to look at some of the options, the deadlines, some of the resources involved. Parents, you're more than welcome to email me with any questions, or let me know if your son or daughter would like a careers appointment, and I will make the arrangements. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much for that, Mrs. Bennett. Obviously, some invaluable information there about what your son or daughter can go on to at post-16 in terms of opportunities available to them. I just also want to share very quickly with you some of the college and sixth form open evenings and taster days available to your son or daughter over the next kind of 6 months or so. So just going down the list there, all of these on this page are targeted at Brockenhurst College. We have Saturday the 9th of October from 9:30 till 12:30 p.m, Thursday the 21st of October 4 p.m. to 8 p.m, Saturday the 6th of November from 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m, and Wednesday the 4th of May from 5:30 to 8 p.m. We also have some of the kind of extension opportunities that Brockenhurst College do run that are off-site away from Brockenhurst College, that you can see there from the marine and construction open events and also the beauty open events there also. Moving on, secondly, we have information there on opening evenings for Highcliffe sixth form, Armwood sixth form and Barton Peveril sixth form. We have information included on Totting College open events and Peter Simmons as well. And lastly, we have some dates available for King Edward School, City College Southampton, Sparsholt College, Bournemouth and Poole College and Eastleigh College. If your son or daughter or yourself would like any more information about these open events, please don't hesitate to get in contact with Mrs. Bennett, and her contact information is at the end of this video. So, this video in a nutshell, I guess our overall Year 11 goal is to keep everyone as happy as possible. And you can see from the acrostic there that as long as your son or daughter continues to work hard, continues to be aspirational, is prepared, shows progress, and that yes effect there, they are willing to go and give up their time and catch up and intervention. They are willing to say, yes, I want some support. If they do all of those things that keep them happy, they are going to be super, super proud of themselves in August when they pick up their real results. And hopefully it will give them that key to whatever they want to go on to later in life. It's been fantastic to share with you the overall plan for your son or daughter this year. I just wanted to finish sharing with you some key contacts if you didn't know them already. So you've obviously got myself there in the top left hand corner, head of Year 11, and my email is included below. You've got Mr. Glennie, who you heard from in this video, who's deputy head teacher and has been attached to our year group since Year 7. We've got Mrs. Bailey, our pastoral support manager, directed to Year 11. Mrs. Bennett, that you've heard lots from this evening regarding our careers opportunity, and our head of English, Mrs. Russell, and head of maths, Dr. Burgess as well. I've also included our tutors down the right hand side there. You can find their staff email addresses on our school website if you need to. Just on a personal note from me, thank you ever so much for watching the video. And if you do have any more questions, please don't hesitate to get in contact. I'm really looking forward to the year ahead, and I can't wait to see everyone, hopefully in person, at Prom seeing everyone celebrating each other's successes in those sparkly dresses and fantastic suits. Thank you very much, guys, and I hope to hear from you soon. Bye bye.